Today, I'm painting in a loose, joyful style that helps you reconnect with the artist you truly are. We're going to let go of our inhibitions, let the paint do the work, and then play a little with some fun pens to add real mixed media magic. These designs are perfect for cards, gifts, or simply for the pleasure of creating. So make yourself comfortable, pick up your brushes, and let's take the plunge together. So today we're going to be doing 2 little paintings, which is going to give us 4 even littler paintings as a result. I'm going to be working on my Meeden watercolor paper, cold press 12 by 9, and this is great paper, you know all about it. There's links to all the things that I use in this video, and every other video as well has got the same links in the description below. And if you use one of those links to go to Amazon, you'll be helping us out. So that's always great if you do that. So I've divided this piece of paper up into 4 sections using washi tape. What I've done is, so that I get the same amount of border all the way around each individual one, I've used a extra narrow one on the outside edge, and then a slightly, double the width on the middle. So when I take that off, you can just cut down there, and these edges will be the same as those, if you see what I mean. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm going to be using some great glittery pens today that I've just acquired here in Cairo, but you can obviously get them on Amazon. I've got a bronze, a silver, and a gold, and they really are sparkly. I've got a metallic marker there, which I haven't tried yet, so I'm not sure what that's going to do, but these I know are already really great. I've got some new, I've been mentioning that I needed some new sepia fine liners, so I've got a couple of those. This is another metallic marker here, and I've also got something which I'm going to be trying out today with you, which is a correction pen. And you know, we've had a lot of trouble, haven't we, all of us, with white gel pens giving up the ghost. Well, somebody suggested a while ago, and I thought, yes, that's a great idea. I do recommend this as well. This is Kuretake white ink. But this is a correction pen. It's for correcting mistakes in handwriting or in typing or whatever, printouts and so on. And I think that's going to work quite well. So let's get started straight away. What I've got here is my palette of pinks. This is from the Kuretake Art Nouveau set. And I've got all the pinks plus 2 greeny blues here. And this is kind of a purple. And I'm going to use those on the top half of this. Then I'm going to go ahead and do some other colors down below here, which I will show you in a second. So we'll just put these up here. You can use whatever size brush you want for this. I think I'll probably go with this Meeden quill brush, because they're quite sort of soft but nevertheless controllable. This is a 4, it's not too big, so it's not going to waste too much or put too much water on. So we'll do that. Someone told me that they didn't have them on Amazon anymore, but you can always go to Meeden.com or whatever is your country's website, and you can order it direct from them, and they're very reasonable, same prices or less even, and you get a discount if you use a code in the description below. Now, I think, therefore I am. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this. You can either wet your area and then drop the paint into it, or you can just use a fairly wet brush and a fairly large amount of paint. So I think I'm going to go with the wet on dry process today, but either is good. It depends what you feel like doing. And then literally, I always laugh at people who say literally all the time. I'm going to go across the row of paints. Let me just make sure you can see everything. Yes. I'm going to take these colors and go across, and I am not thinking. Now, you know as well as I do that I'm in Cairo at the moment. If you use a little bit less water, you can get a more kind of dry brush effect. So just bear that in mind when you're doing this. And if you use the point of the brush, like this, you can do sort of more like lines, which are going to, and make sure you leave a few little gaps as well. And so we'll just go across like this, just however it goes. And like I said, I'm in Cairo at the moment, and we just got back from a trip. We went down to Hurghada, which is on the Red Sea. And yeah, that was very good. It's very nice. Weather's a bit cooler at this time of year. I'm going to go to the purple now. What was I going to say? Yeah, I got back last night, didn't we? And so this morning I thought, I tell you what, I'll have a migraine. Honestly, hopeless. I think it was because we had eaten in a restaurant, and if you press down like that, you get a good flow down. See that? You never know quite what's going to happen. I'm going to go into the greeny blue now, and I'm just going to drop some of that in here, by the way of a kind of contrast, and then the darker, much darker, this one, I think. So consequently, I'm doing this. I am the migraine queen at the moment. I think you must have to admit that. It's ridiculous. But I think it was because of a gluten reaction that I had the day before. I'm going to just go back and fill in some of these gaps so that we get a really nice mixture of colour, and also make sure we go right over the edge. Otherwise, when we take the tape off, it won't look quite right. Okay. Got some lovely blooms going on there. See how that happened when I went in again? If I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have got those blooms. So we'll come down here and we'll do this again. And because I've got a limited palette, which I have on purpose, what happens is all the colours are going to be harmonious. And I did check before I started that they were going to work. I think I've got it here. Yeah, I tried them out here. These are the colours I'm using from my selected set. So it's always a good idea to do some tests before you start. I'm going to go to the light colours now. There we go. Okay, so that's the pinks. And the other one, the next one I'm going to do underneath, I'm going to have a completely different colour palette. We're going to go to the greens. I do find these Art Nouveau paints quite nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to whip these out. If I had two of these little palette boxes, that would be good, wouldn't it? And I wouldn't have to keep taking them out, putting them in. But I won't be using those again. They've done their job, so we'll take those out. And I'll put them back where they belong in a minute. So I think that's pretty much, I think I pretty much know where they go now. So there we are, and now we will pick out our blues and our greens. So here we go. Now I know you don't have to do this. Obviously you don't have to do this. You don't want to, but I personally, with my limited imagination and my problems with colour mixing, not colour mixing, but colour palette creation, I find that this really helps. So I'm going to go up here to neutral to go with these colours. And as you put them out, you can see this would be a perfect colour scheme for a room, wouldn't it? For a living room. And I think we'll have a pop of that and possibly a pop of that. I couldn't do this if I didn't have a system. Yes, I couldn't do it. So now we'll do the second one. And shall we wet the whole paper this time, just as by the change, for the change of how to show if it makes any difference, if it really does? You lose a certain amount of control if you wet it first, but if you let it dry a little bit before you start going in, you won't lose much of that control. If you wet your paper a lot, by the way, this is a fact, some people have been advocating on YouTube, that artists that is, that you should soak the paper thoroughly for a long time and then let it dry, and that will work better, but it's not true. This is incorrect, because what you've done then is you've removed all the sizing from the paper, and it's the sizing that makes the paper work properly. So you don't really want to do that. Now, I've wet this, but I haven't wet it greatly. I haven't wet it muchly. I haven't wet it bigly. I'm going to mop up some of the extra, like that. But it's just dampened it. So we'll see, shall we? Let's see what happens. And I'm going to start at the top with some green. You probably will find, if you have wetted your paper, you might need a bit more pigment. I'm going to put some darker green on top of that. Go right in on top. Then I'm going to switch down to some pale blue. Maybe this one is better. And you'll see immediately, I hope you'll see that you get a different kind of blending, right? It's much softer. You get much stronger bands of colour with that one. You see what I mean? Another good thing about this kind of way of painting is that you can't ever duplicate what you did before. So don't try to. Just maybe use the same techniques, but don't try to, create the same effects. You won't be able to. I think I might, shall I? Yeah, maybe I'll put a bit of this in here. And then we'll go to the green again, a bit thicker than before. When you do it thicker with less water, you're going to get a darker colour. Like that. And honestly, it doesn't matter what you do at all. Is there anyone here I haven't used? I've used that. Did I use that one? Did I use that one? It doesn't matter what you use, which colours you use or how you use them, because you're going to paint over the whole thing with pen. And you might use some acrylic markers as well. And let's put some pale blue down here. And the lovely, glorious thing about doing this is that it doesn't matter what it looks like. Let's put a bit more of this blue on here. Doesn't matter what it looks like at all. And I'm going to put a dark line up here. Now, if you want, at this stage, while it's still wet, you can blob in, you can do a couple of things. You could put in some drops, and they'll spread and give you texture. Or you could put in dabs of thicker textured paint. I'm not going to touch that one because that's the way it is. So you can do that kind of thing if you want. Different, It's thicker, so it doesn't run so much, but it will run a bit. Okay. So, yes, I know it looks like nothing on earth at the moment, but we're going to dry it now, and then we're going to come in on top. And I've also got here acrylic pens, which I might use as well. These are these are Lightwish. These were Lightwish. They don't make them anymore, but you can get ones very similar by, I think it's Artistro. Okay, so this is dry now, and let's get on with the next step. Now, I expect you probably think I'm going to embellish each one of these separately, which is definitely one way that it could be done, but I'm not going to do that, actually. I'll just move my pens. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to paint in some leaves. I just need to grab a piece of scrap paper here, not exactly scrap, but... And I think I might use this rather nice Air Force blue. Yeah, so I'm going to have a go at doing some rather nice leaves like that over the whole thing, okay? And I'll make sure I've picked up... And which one did I just... was it that one? I think I'll use that one anyway. Let's just lay down some leaves, and they need to be fairly dark at the top here because why do they need to be fairly dark? To tell you the truth, I can't remember what I was thinking. Anyway, they don't really. So we'll just do this, and I'll get some darker blue for the stem. And we'll take it all the way down here. And then maybe I'll just try and pick up some really much more darker green and just pop that in for our veins. And then we'll water it down a bit. Darker in the bottom. Not much point in putting it there. It's going to disappear. So I've just varied the blues a bit as we come down here. Not any particular theme in mind, and what I'm going to do before, to give it a bit more texture and a bit more interest, I'm just going to lift out some of the colour very carefully and lightly with a piece of tissue so that it's not quite so pungent. And then let me find a smaller brush, not that one, smaller still. And we'll go to our dark blue. And this will give us a kind of break up within the leaves. Just give us some fun activity there. Sorry if you can hear the noise in the background. That's somebody putting some curtain rails up for our pergola outside. I'm going to put some curtains on the pergola. So I want some of these to be quite dark because I'm going to put some gold and stuff like that on top. So that's the first one. And then the second one, I'm going to do something a little bit brave. I think, shall I do it with the pen or shall I do it? I was thinking of doing it with white, but because it's going to be so big, maybe what I'll do, I'll take some of this white ink, and if I can, oh no, tell you what, I won't use the white ink. This is a matter of, you have to bear with me here because this is white paint. Let's see how this works. Just squeeze some of that out and I'll mix it up with some water. What is in the bottom of that? Oh, that's full of salt. Oh, well, there we go. We won't be doing that either. Excuse me. No, Diane. We'll go back to plan one. I didn't realise there was anything in the bottom of that. It's because it's getting a bit dark here, you see, so couldn't see what I was doing. So what I'm going to try to do, and this might all go terribly wrong, but I'm going to try and paint some white leaves. And I was tossing up with the idea of using the marker, the correction pen. I thought that would probably work, but this would be quicker. And that is working. And then I'll do another one down here. Yes. Okay, so we'll just put one at the top. And then I think we'll probably put some separate and individual leaves on these ones where we don't have a stem. So we'll just put some nice leaf shapes, and go up here too. There we are. So we've got that, and then probably want to come down here and just put a few. Let's see, what should we do? Has to be a little bit darker. Okay, I think that's a good start. So now what do we want to do? So many things you can do, I just can never make up my mind. First thing I think though probably is just to dry it. I think I'll probably go with the white pen and get it off. That's it. Excellent. Now let's see if this works. Give it a bit of a shake. And we'll start up the top here. You always get a bit of a broken line when you're working on cold press paper because it's so irregular. And I'm trying it out as well at the moment, so we'll see how it goes. Some of the white gel pens don't like working over watercolor paper, watercolor pen, watercolor, I'll get it right in a minute. Watercolor paint. I'm hoping that this correction pen, because it's obviously meant to go over other things, I'm just hoping that that might work. And it does look as if it does, doesn't it? And I am working slower than is my natural speed because, again, white tends to break up if you go too fast. So I think if this lasts, you know, if it actually doesn't dry out on me like so many of the others have done, then this will turn out to be my favourite, which is a very unexpected thing. So I'm just going to put some veins on some of these, not all of them. And we'll stop with that for a minute. Let's see what happens with some of these metallic markers. Let's see what this one does. Okay, that will do nicely for dots. If you press harder, you get a bigger dot. Press lightly, you get a very small dot. I'll try to find an equivalent for you, and I'll put the information in the description below. I've rubbed up my thing there, but this is quite nice. This makes a nice big gold spot. Can you see that? And then also nice small ones too. And I can probably expect that I can be able to draw veins in on here. And you can do some going that way too. They're quite big, aren't they? Quite pronounced. That's good. Now, how will it work out on the gold, I wonder? I don't tend to use... What's the matter? You see, I told you I had a migraine this morning. It always affects my speech centre, so I'll say the opposite to what I intend to say. What I meant to say was, how will it work on the white? And the answer is absolutely fine. That's good. Just do some dots on these ones, not on all of them. And now let's try out our sparkly pen. This one I think is pretty sparkly. So I'm thinking of putting some lines in. That is sparkly, but unfortunately you can't really see it, I don't think. So I'll come back to that. Let's try putting it on the white, like this. We just keep going until we've filled everything up. Let's go around the outside edge, perhaps. It's a different shade of gold, isn't it? Can do some dots. Come back to this one. This is not quick work. I always think, oh, this will just be a quick video, won't take long. Won't take long at all. but actually quite often these ones take longer. But that's actually quite a good thing, really. Because when you do something like this, you're doing it just to take your mind off other things, I think. This is silver. I wonder how this will look on here. You can fill in the spaces with pen line by doing circles that sort of just touch up against each other. Different sizes. And if you've lost your leaf, if it's lost its way, you can bring it back to leaf life by filling it in. Go around the outside edge if you want. Yeah, so that worked okay. Silver's quite good. I'm going to use some brown sepia now. This one is what size? This is, I don't know. Let's try it out. Brown, or shall we do black? I think maybe I'll do black. The other thing I do like to do quite a lot is to use the brush pen effect, which we know and love from Kuretake, so maybe I'll use that. Yeah, I think that works quite well. Just gives it focus around the outside edges. There we are, and then we can do some more veins if we want, using the finer pen. And then I think I'm going to actually go to my markers here and I'm going to look for colours like a darker shade of pink, and we'll put in some nice flowers here and there. So we've got that colour, and then we've got this colour. We could just do some circles. And the good thing about this is it goes over the darker colour as well as going over the light. And then you can go to something much darker, let's say a purple, and we can put in, when it's dry, it's probably best. You know, you can put in centres if you want. And where you've got something like this, you have to allow it to go with the flow. So when you see something dark and you want to sort of break it up a bit, you can go in like that. And basically you're just building up I want some dark green here. Let's see if this one works. And we could do a few leaves. While I've got this one handy, I'll do some more dots down here. And we've got a brighter green here too. Go in the centres of those splotches that we did earlier, like that. Okay, we've had a little break there while life interfered, and so now we have our curtains up. That's good. I'm just going to take the washi tape off of here, revealing the nice edges around these 4 pieces. Not that they're finished quite yet, but at this stage I quite like to remove the tape so that I can actually see each independent little picture separately, and that's worked out okay, more or less. Right, so now we need to just carry on with our embellishments and thinking about what I want to do. I'm going to, there goes the electricity coming back on again. Yes, that's good, I can see now. The power had just gone out. I'm going to do a little bit of work on this one here, and I'm going to put in some vertical lines as filler, like this. Okay, and I think we'll come at it from this part here too. There we are, so that's quite nice. Do I want to do that anywhere else? Probably. Let's do it here. You don't have to do them all absolutely straight and vertical. Yet there are other ways of using parallel lines. But it's a subtle but effective way of enhancing your background, I think. And I'm not sure if you can see that sparkling effect on here, but it is quite obvious when you're actually here. So let's do a few more on this one here. We'll just do some nice parallel lines on these nice dark leaves to lighten them up a bit. This is a lovely sparkly gold pen. I have got another one like this. I think it's a slicky or something like that, and I've got that in France, but I didn't think I brought it with me this time. Sometimes it's really difficult, isn't it? You know, when you travel, I'm going gold over white here just for the heck of it. When you travel, sometimes, you know, you take a restricted set of equipment and you think, oh, I won't need that, I won't want that, or whatever. But if you do that, then you do find yourself very, very limited as to what you can actually do. So, yes, it's tricky to make the decision. You don't want to travel absolutely loaded down. And I'm going to go with my blobby pen here. This one, I think, yeah, this does dots. And I'm going to do more dots on these dark lines. We had a very nice evening last night. We went to the hotel where I met my husband. I've mentioned this before, I know, but we haven't actually been there for about, we couldn't decide how long it is since we'd been there, but it is something like 10 years probably. We met there in 1989. And the wonderful thing is, if you ever consider going to Egypt on holiday and you have a choice of hotels, the best hotel to stay in is called the Concorde El Salam, which is now being run by the Louvre company, which is a French company, and it's really, really well run. It's in absolutely immaculate shape. It's never been in better shape, and yet they haven't actually changed anything fundamentally. They've altered the functions of some of the rooms a little bit. So, for example, they've done away with the discotheque, but they've now got a casino. But the beautiful circular swimming pool, I'll put some photos up, in the middle of the outdoor restaurant where they always have a permanent barbecue in the evenings. It's absolutely lovely, and my husband was instrumental in putting everything in place in there. And we went last night, and like I say, we haven't been for 10 years. And as we walked through the door, he was greeted by the current members of staff who, and he was saying, "But how do you know who I am?" Because they were saying, "Oh, hello, Mr. Magdi, nice to see you here." And he's like, "How do you, I don't know who, how, what." And this, the head of food and beverages said, "Oh, when we're trained, we're shown photos of all the original staff of the hotel, and we're told to learn what they look like so that if they come to the hotel, we can treat them specially." I just thought, wow. Because before, we used to walk in and the same people that he'd worked with before he left were still there, but now most of them have passed away, sadly. There's one or two left. Actually, I think 4. But people stayed there for life. Once they've started working for a hotel in Egypt, in Cairo, they never leave. And the chief engineer, the electrician who took over from Magdi, has been working there since 1975. That's 50 years now he's been there without interruption that whole time. So, of course, he definitely recognised Magdi. Oh, yes, I wanted to put some gold in the centre of these flowers. And in the centre of these ones. Okay, and let's see what we do down here. We've got these ones here, haven't we? We need to put something. I'll just put some lines, I think. It's a kind of bronze. This one. And the other good thing about this particular hotel, if you have food allergies like I do, you can just ask for something to be done especially for you. And I had a nice baked potato with grated cheese. Magdi had steak. Tamsin had an omelette and chips. None of that was on the menu. So that's the great thing about that kind of hotel. Don't think this colour will go with that one. I think I might do some more white lines on this one. Let's do some lines up here. You can just go on and on and on with this. I know I keep saying that. Let's put some nice spirals. We could put a few down here too, actually. And you could, if you wanted to, do one of these wiggly lines, like this. And then you could take another colour, for example, let's see, what's this? Turquoise, yes, I think we put a bit of that in here before, so I'll just do different sized dots in behind this barrier here. I'm just trying to give you as many different ideas as I can think of, and then we'll go with our other colours of gold and just repeat that. Yeah, just as many possible ideas for how you could embellish your own version of this. Don't bother copying what I do, because there's nothing special. about what I do at all. I'm just making it up as I go along. Just trying to encourage you. And I think that actually doesn't look too bad. I think I might do some more of that. And I think I might do some on this one. We learned something last night too about the hotel. I didn't know this, and I expect you'd probably do, being as you're probably more experienced than me with going and staying in hotels. But we said to the chief food and beverages, how do you, because he said, oh, we're full, we're totally booked up. And we said, well, how on earth you know, my sister's just coming over from England and she got a room. And he said, no, well, that's it. We always recommend that you go to Expedia and you book your room through Expedia, because we have rooms that we sell to Expedia and they're not available to us. So you have to get them through Expedia. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So you can't walk up to the desk and say, I'd like a room. They say to you, oh, yeah, well, we've sold, all of our rooms have been sold to tour groups or to conferences. If you want a room, you have to go via Expedia. That's a bit different to the way it used to be. Anyway, I think we're going to spend a night there soon so that Tamsin can have a nice swim in the swimming pool, which is a circular infinity pool. It's lovely. And I'm going to take the gold again. I think I'm going to go behind here with some slightly thicker gold ones. And, well, we're getting to the end, I think. Maybe we'll do some little ones of these up here. So do one or two over here, but smaller. If you haven't got any of these nice acrylic marker pens, do get some for yourself, because you'll find that they really open up possibilities for embellishment without costing the earth. And I think we probably want to do more dots up here too. It's not dark enough. I'll tell you what I will do. I'm going to go around these ones with doubles. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah, I quite like that. Maybe we'll go around these ones as well. This one's quite hectic. I think that's probably enough on there. And I've got a bit of silver. Where's it gone? Where's my silver pen? Here it is. I've got a bit of silver here, and I think we want a bit more, so. And we'll bring this down here a bit further, I think. I'm going to go in the centres of those, I think, with some gold dots. Right, I am going to stop now, but what I'm going to do next is the following. I'm going to find my knife. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know how to do this, you just find the little open area, which is at the top here. You slide a nice bluntish kind of knife in and just whack it right round the outside edges like that. And that comes off clean as a whistle and as flat as a pound cake. No problem at all with that. And I'm just going to cut them into four. I've got my mini cutting pad here, which is great. Keep that parallel, and then I need my metal ruler and my knife. And then just want to make sure I start in the right place, so I need a pencil. Right, so it's going to be here and here. So move that a little bit. Let's hope that's more or less straight. And like I said before, if you use the half width washi tape around the outside edges, then when you trim it like this, you end up with an even edge all around, which is what you want really. All right, so we'll go from here, which is, I eyeball it. I've seen a few people doing something like this, and then you can stick this design onto a card, say one from Strathmore, for example, and they look quite nice. But they're just a heck of a lot of fun to do. And no problem whatsoever to cut into a nice little design that will be all yours, nobody else's. So there we are, we have two pink ones and two green ones, just for the heck of it. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to check the description below for links to all the things that I used. And yeah, I don't think I talked about any other channels today, as a matter of fact, but keep an ear out for any others that I happen to recommend as we go along. And I hope everyone keeps well. Have a lovely day, and I will see you again very, very soon. I'll say bye-bye for now from Cairo. We're here for another fortnight, and then we'll be back in France. And don't worry, the animals are all being taken very good care of. So I'll let you go, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.